Hi, do you want to know how to use shortcuts to send multiple URLs to your browser? So in the previous video, I showed you how to basically do some links and send them via shortcuts over to your browser with Keyboard Maestro, etc. Well, in the last week, I thought this seems a bit silly to create 20 shortcuts with all my different URLs. There's got to be a better way. So I'll come up with a solution. And I'm going to show you that now. Hi, I'm Mike from Mike's Tech, where I show you how to solve life's automation problems using tech and other automations. So for this week, or this video rather, different type of shortcut, using dictionaries and using sort of my foundation that I've used in the past. And I want to just quickly talk you through that. So I've got my standard input where I got a test mode and I store what the name of the shortcut is, and then we set some variables there so that they can be used, and then I use Logger. I've talked about that before in the past. Great application. And then what I'm doing is last video I just had one URL. Now I'm like, okay, well, let's start storing them so that we don't have to have 20 different shortcuts for everyone. I've got some examples here for Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. I've got them here as well. They're a bit harder to read at the moment, but they're all there. I mean, you could also, there's two other ways you could set them just as text entries as well. So you could create a text entry. I do find this, unfortunately, is a bit better at times because then you can actually read it, etc. Or the other way to do it is to use data jar, and then you could store them all in there and just get the value and just get them back. And you probably wouldn't even need to use a dictionary. You just use data jar to do it all. But anyway, so what we've got going on here is I've said I've got the 4 different URLs, and then I'm loading them using a dictionary. And again, doing the standard check if there's input or not, and then logging that all out to Logger. So really quick, if it is in test mode, then set some test data. We just want to set the index of the dictionary. So if you're not sure of indexes, this would be row 1, row 2, row 3. So index 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go through that. And then here, it's a shortcut input is false. And shortcut, my apologies. But the other thing is we want to say test mode here is false. I keep refining my template for this. I've been finding a few times now that I've gone back and went, oh, yeah, that's actually not right. And I just found another little one. So we're going to log an error, we're going to post notification, and we're going to stop the shortcut because there's no input and we're not in test mode. So we've actually here said text scope equals no and shortcut equals no in our logging. So, and then basically in here, we're setting a variable URL number to this text, and then we're logging that as well. And then if shortcut input is true and test mode equals false, then we're going to assign the input to that same variable using you. And the reason we do this is because if you're in test mode or you're in non-test mode and you have input, it's the same variable. You don't have to change that, etc. So then I'm basically making sure that it's a number. Because it's an index, it has to be a number 1, 2, 3, 4. In other coding languages, 0 might be the start of the index for a dictionary or a list. That's not the case in shortcuts. It starts at 1, and we get through that. So I'm just converting it just to make sure. I explain why a little bit later. And then I'm saying this is probably the key to this whole thing. Get item at index numbers from values. So what we're basically trying to say here is we're getting the dictionary URLs and we want the values back. So it's going to give us the value, and so the way a dictionary works, this is a key and that's a value. We want the value for the key and the index 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't need to know the name of the key. We just know the name. We just know where it is positioned, because I've just kept it really easy, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could call this other names, etc., but it's this way you know what index it's going to be at. And then basically log it all and then set it as a URL, because if you're going to open something, you want it to find the text as a URL. And then I'm using a little add-in called actions. If you did, as I explained in the last video, if you just use open URL, it only opens the default browser. I wanted to open in Firefox for today's demo, and then we're going to log it, and then we're actually going to output as well what the URL was that we went to. Okay, so let's give it a go. The other just quick thing to show you is that you want to turn this on so that you can receive input. If you don't have this on, you can't actually do that. So I've set all that up already. Okay, so let's give it a go. There's Logger off and running, and let's just quickly go through it. So we can see here the name of the shortcut. I just log what machine I'm on. I'm on a Mac, on an iPhone, whatever. So it just does that for you. That's pretty easy to log. It is log device details. I'm also doing cleared or logged messages just in this demo. I normally have this when I'm in test mode, but I just haven't set that today. But it just means that every time I run it, it clears it. That's good and bad. If you've got other more permanent shortcuts running and they're logging, you lose that. So there is hopefully going to be some updates coming soon. Okay. All right. So we've opened. We're just going through this. I've said the test mode is yes. And I've said just dump me out the dictionary, which it's done. So it's got all the items in the dictionary. And then I'm saying check input. This is just logging to say I'm starting the if statement. It's saying, hey, this if statement is true. The text script test mode is yes. The test data is set to 1. And then I've also said, okay, what's the text and number that it comes out? This one here, log numbers, so we can actually see what it is. And then it tells me what did it get, which URL did it get based on number 1. And then off it goes. And in shortcuts, it shows us, because we've got stop and output, it shows us what its URL was. Okay. That's really all there is to it. We can go and change that test data. Let's just get number 4, which should be the Amazon one. Yep, Amazon. So let's just try that, see what happens. Okay, and it's opened up at Amazon. Okay, great. And we'll just, for completeness, we'll just go through them all to make sure that they all work. Okay, off it goes again. Now it's opened the Google one, which is number 3. And we haven't done number 2, so let's just do that. But you can imagine just keep going on. And then you don't need to have all these, like a separate shortcut for everyone. Okay. Now, took me a little bit longer to create this video because I was really trying to get this to work and I can't. So Keyboard Maestro is doing something really weird here in the fact that it's sending this over as data and not as an integer. I've tried all sorts of things. So I'm just going to show you what happens here, but we get all these errors because it's basically saying you're asking for item 0 but the first one is 1. We're like, okay, let's have a look at our logging. So you can see the first problem. I've actually said, what's the raw input? Data. Why is it sending data? I want it to be 1. It should be 1, but I can't get that to work. I can change this from a variable and say we actually want text, and I can say I want that one. We'll get rid of that. We don't want it anymore. And we could say, let's try that again. So that should work. It's sending over the number 1. But again, you can see it's sending raw input as data. I'm like, what is that? Why are you not able to send just data? I tried changing this around. It doesn't actually seem to change the outcome. So a little bit frustrated with that at the moment. I will come up with a solution and I'll have to post a video for you soon. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you found this useful. Subscribe down below and I'll see you in the next video.